evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coaches Show here on Country 93.1, live from Pints and Courts Pub and Grill here on Norton Street. My name is Matt Chapkus, joined by Coach Steve Zerwan, and we are here after a big victory for the Crusaders this week, a 42-7 win on the road at Fruitport. Absolutely, and with that, the Crusaders have clinched a playoff berth for the MHSAA playoffs as well, which is a big deal for them. Coach, I guess let's just start by talking a little bit about the end result of that Fruitport game. It was 42-7. I don't think anybody anticipated anything like that coming into the game.
No, and the most important thing that came away from last week was our sixth win. And, you know, if you set a goal for the beginning of the season to qualify for the playoffs, be winning week 10, we accomplished that goal. So that was, you know, I guess you talk about the end result. The end result was we are playing one more week after the regular season's over, and then, you know, you've given yourself a chance now to set some new goals. And you know, as far as the score is concerned, we I don't know if we caught Fruitport at their best day, but we definitely played well and did some things that were worthy of scoring 42 points. So it definitely worked out well for us.
All right, let's just start with talking about it. Actually, the first quarter, there was only a couple possessions in that quarter. You guys kind of went back and forth, went scoreless, and then finally things got going for you. You finished it off just the beginning of the second quarter with Alex Lewandowski 1-yard touchdown run, and that made it 7-0 for you guys.
Yeah, it was a little bit, I guess, a little disappointing because we've had such good first drives all year, and we moved the ball. I think we got 3 first downs on that first drive, and then you know, on the third down, I think we were at 3rd and 7, and we tried a pass, and we had somebody not catch a pass route that they were supposed to run, and it ended up being an interception. But, you know, you kind of look at big picture, it's just kind of a long punt. You know, we were at midfield or something, so it was disappointing because we have had such good first drives this year. And then they got a few first downs. I think they were aided by a penalty that we had, and then we were able to drive the ball. We got into a little more of our power set and, you know, put together a nice drive and, you know, got the first touchdown of the game to go up 7-0.
And then about 8 minutes later, a couple things happened. There was a 3rd and short play for Fruitport, and you got a big stop from Dominic Midkiff on that play. And then the next play, you get the block punt. Alex takes it back 39 yards for the touchdown. Yeah,
we've been kind of doing that a lot this year. You know, we had actually in years past had more of a kind of a return type setup in our punts. This year we've been putting people on the line and not necessarily going, but we kind of thought it was the right opportunity to go ahead and try a block. I think Nick got I think it was Nick Holt that actually blocked it. You can't tell for sure sometimes what's going on there, but then Nick blocked it and Alex Lewandowski scooped it up. He really was in the right place at the right time, made a nice play on the ball, and that put us up 14-0. So that was you know, obviously a key to the game when you know, you had one drive stalled out and you got one, you know, touchdown drive, but you still got the 14 points that you wanted to start the game with.
And then things got a little nutty after that. Fruitport went down on a couple quick plays and scored on a 23-yard touchdown pass. And then you guys answered right back. Not even 50 seconds later, Tommy Scott broke one on a pass from Nick Holt, 56 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, the defensive possession, we're just going back as coaches watching film on Sunday morning. We thought it was probably our worst 4 or 5 plays in a row on defense. It wasn't a good series for us, and they did some things right, and we got caught looking in the backfield on a long pass, and they were able to hit a fade. And that was 14-7, and that was, I guess as a coach, that was kind of the question mark. I think at that point there was about a little over 2 minutes left in the half, and you kind of make a decision. Are you going to try to get a score, or are you just going to go to halftime happy up by a touchdown? And we threw a little bubble pass out to Blake Sanford, and it went for an 11-yard gain. So, you know, for one, we had a little bit going there, and we had a play that just kind of had drawn up and saved. We knew we wanted to use it at some point, and the second I called it, I kind of regretted it because I thought they'd be playing pass and playing back, but the play worked out nicely. The play worked exactly as we drew it up. We had actually Blake Sanford and Tommy Scott splitting the safety that was near our bench, and the safety kind of went with Blake, and Tommy was left wide open down the sideline, and he made a nice catch, and Nick made a nice throw. And, you know, I think getting that score looking back was, to me, one of the keys to the game. The fact that we were able to go up in the locker room 21-7 versus being 14-7, you know, I think made all the difference to, you know, our kids having a little more confidence at half and probably put them in a little more of a mode where they were pressing at halftime, figuring out what to do. knowing they were down by 2 scores.
Now, coming into the second half, this season so far, minus obviously the first 2 games were tough games for us. The second half, really, your team hasn't needed to score the last 5 games before this week. Fruitport comes in after the half, and they get the opening possession. They can cut it to a 1-touchdown game. Instead, your defense makes a big stand, and then your team comes back, and you end up scoring 21 points in the second half, which is, I think, a really good sign for you that, if your team has to finish a game in the fourth quarter, that's the first time they've had to, and they showed the ability that they can do it.
Yeah, getting that drive, we put together the pass to Tommy Scott, and then I think it was our first possession in the second half that we were able to score on. I think Alex Lewandowski, we had a nice in our T package. I think there was a key second down play that Nick Holt broke a little keeper around left end towards our bench, and then I was just kind of talking to my coach on the phones. Then I said we're going to hit him with what we call our scissors play. We're going to hit him with that next. That's going to go for a touchdown, and it did. So we kind of had it really scripted out nicely there to start the second half, and then we got a nice. I think it was it might have been fourth quarter. We got a defensive touchdown from Tommy Scott.
Yep.
And looking back, he made a heck of a play on the ball. He tipped the ball up to himself and then came down with it. And then I don't know how many people told me that they watched the clip on the news that night and said, "Man, that kid looks fast." And I said, "Well, he is fast." And, it was nice that he made a play in the ball, and then I think he showed just a tremendous amount of athletic ability in the touchdown return. Yeah,
he basically turned into a returner at that point.
Right.
He did a great job with that, and then Alex finished things off. 8:46 left to go in the fourth quarter. A 4-yard touchdown run.
That was right after the interception. I think they went 2 plays and got a fumble, and then we recovered the fumble, and then we just Tommy actually broke one around left end that he almost scored on, and then Alex just scored on a halfback dive, and that was all the scoring we needed for the night. And, I think we made the comment on the sideline, just 8 minutes and we're out of here. We got the running clock. Sort of surprises you playing a quality team like Fruitport, but sometimes, you get a block punt for a touchdown, you get a reception return for a touchdown. Those things snowball a little bit, so it was nice to get that and get out of there with only, get that running clock with 8 minutes to go.
Now, I took a look a little bit at the stats from the game, and one of the things, we actually had Coach Holmes. He was up in the booth, and he talked to us a little bit before the game. He said last year the big thing for you was Fruitport couldn't run the ball, and their totals, they attempted 32 rushes. They netted 59 yards. So once again, you guys were able to shut down the ground attack and really limit what Fruitport could do.
Yeah, you just watch on film. They've been able to gash some people, and I think that's their got them more of a spread team now in what they do philosophically. But again, I think any team, if they can run the ball, they're going to keep running it on you. And last year I thought we probably the same type of dominant performance up front that we had the year before. Fruitport just happened to hit some passes and made some key plays when they had to, and were able to win the game in overtime. And I just thought this year, we took away the run again, and I think we proved that we were a little better up front with them than we were, just like we were the year before. But they weren't able to hit the big passes and get the breaks. And I think in a lot of ways we got the breaks this year with the punt return for a touchdown and the interception return for a touchdown.
Now, talk about your defensive line, because we talked a little bit about him all year long, but we gave Jaden McPherson player of the game, actually. He led the way with 8 tackles. He had 2 one-handed sacks in that game. Those guys really made the statement for you up front.
Yeah, those are guys that are playing both ways. We have a limited amount of guys, but those guys really, they play hard on offense, and they turn around and play hard on defense, and they go back on offense, and they're going back and forth, and it's Jaden McPherson, who is, I don't know if we really talk about. I think he showed his strength on that play when he did get the quarterback with one hand. He did that twice, as you mentioned. He is the strongest guy on our team, and he's the strongest guy on our team by a lot. He has just an amazing amount. He squats like a legitimate squat, near 500 pounds, a 500-pound deadlift. He's just an extremely strong kid. So much in our weight room, we have our totals that kids can go by.
Right.
I had to have my wife come in and paint another total on because his name was getting moved to the right another time. And that's just, you like to see that, but he's an extremely strong kid. And Jacob Holt, who's another kid, only a sophomore, but he's extremely strong as well. And Michael Coy up front. Those are kind of our 3 key down linemen. And then, someone like Ian Tyler is versatile, can play with his hand on the ground, some D-line, or drop and play some linebacker. Yeah, those guys up front, I mean, if you get that kind of play up front, it really makes it easier on the linebackers and the defensive backs, no doubt about it.
And another guy that came in, he made one significant play, was Dominic Mitkiff. Now, this is a guy that a lot of the time we see him, he's holding the ball for Griffin when he's kicking, and he does an outstanding job with that as well. But for Dominic to come in as a substitute, make that huge third down play, it shows you got a little bit of depth to work with. Even though the numbers are small, all these guys are contributing.
Yeah, and that's, Dominic's a senior, and I think anytime he gets on the field, I think he's appreciative of it, and you saw how he's got some ability to he's a big kid. He goes about 6'3", and he's near 200 pounds. And Dominic kind of came to us last year. He actually is a kind of a unique situation. I think he joined the National Guard, and he was actually spent his whole summer at boot camp.
Okay.
And he wanted to be part of the National Guard, National Reserves or something. We do it. He goes for 1 weekend a year right now, and he's got to go back to boot camp, I guess, or do another month-long stint next summer. So again, he was away doing that. He wasn't even back for our Shores game, but again, he had played. He'd been in the program now, and so he came back in excellent shape, as you would imagine, coming back from boot camp. And you're just happy that he got to contribute in a big game like that, and I know he was thrilled about it as well.
Okay. And then we'll start turning our attention toward the Traverse City St. Francis game in a minute. I guess other than the obvious, you got win 6. What was your message to the team after the game?
I think the thing that struck me the most was, I want to say it was that evening in the coach's room. Lamar Jordan, who's a linebacker and tight end on our team, kind of made the comment that, we accomplished the goal you wanted us to accomplish by getting in the playoffs, and then the playoffs don't start till week 10. He's kind of said, what's our goal for week 9? And I didn't know these guys listened so intently. I was kind of caught off guard by that, and I said we have to think of one. So, I this week in approaching the St. Francis game, it's these kind of quality opponents that you play are going to you hope pay dividends down the road when you get into some tough competition later on in the playoffs. So, we have to approach this game. It's not a playoff game. It's not a do or die, but it's a game that we're going to approach every bit as hard. I mean, we were out there practicing till 6:05 tonight, I think. And we had extremely long practice today, but again, it just kind of shows you that we're just our job is to get better as a football team, and this week is another opportunity to do that against a real quality opponent.
All right. We'll talk more about the Gladiators in just a moment. Why don't we take a 3-minute break? We'll be back with more of the Coaches Show here on Country 93.1.